Hello and welcome to Computer Tech and More. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Razer Blackwidow version 4 75% keyboard. Let's take a look at the box. So this one came to my attention as part of my just ever going on looking at different keyboards because it's got hot swappable switches. This is fairly new for Razer themselves. Most of their other keyboards are not hot swappable, so it's definitely an interesting mark there. Optimized typing experience, aluminum case. Same advertising we got right there. Multiple function row, hot swap design, 2 underline per key lighting. Optimized typing experience. So let's open it up. 2-year warranty. So that's okay. I'd honestly like to see a longer warranty, but hey. Can't have everything, right? And open it up, and we are greeted with a lot of plastic. So it's well preserved in this plastic. I don't think that it's strictly necessary. They could have gone with something else that would be more biodegradable, better for the planet. Razer, do that in the future, please. The inside has a lot of cardboard in it, so at least that's biodegradable. Alright, we got USB-C cable. Looks fairly nicely braided. Let's open it up. Here we are. It even has a green inside on it. That's cute. And standard Razer green on that side. Feels pretty nicely braided. Looks like a good length overall. And then we got ourselves a wrist rest. Opening it up. Well, feels very pleather. Feels right. Let's see how it looks with the rest of that. Also in the box, right in that slot, was your keycap puller and switch remover. Just came in this little box. So put it back in there for now. Alright, and there it is. Just first things first, let's see. They are magnetic, which is nice to see. Basically, the only reason I like the magnetic is it means that if you accidentally slide something, they're a little bit more likely to stay together. The magnet is not strong enough to pull the keyboard or even each other's devices, but it just helps stabilize things. Matter of fact, it feels a little, well, about the same. So, I would say that's very nice to have. We'll see how it feels on my desk. Since right now I'm just recording on the floor. Alright, let's explore the keyboard. Looks like we got a little knob right there. So this can probably be for volume or whatever you want it to be. We got a couple other switches. So there's a mute. And don't know what that is. But these are just physical buttons. They don't rotate like this one does. This feels very thick. I mean, it looks very thick. We'll compare it to other keyboards in a second. So I probably wouldn't even use the feet. So it's got nice big rubber pads there, but when you flip up this is a tiny little rubber pad, and then if you really want to be crazy, also a very tiny rubber pad. USB-C cable slides all the way into the back there, and that, I guess, really makes it nice and secure, and so you'll just have the cable coming out of it. That should look pretty nice. But and offer a good strain relief on it. And with such a thick keyboard, well, I guess I would expect a little bit better rigidity. You can see the flex. Again, your keyboard's going to be flat on your desk, so the flex there doesn't matter. I need a little bit solid surface. Hang on. So I just need to check that on my desk. So there is a tiny bit of flex across the middle if you're pounding at it, but you know, you're not going to be crushing this thing. So if you're just tapping at it, perfectly fine, perfectly fine. It's not going to flex at all. I mean, it looks pretty good, appearance-wise, but it's super duper thick. So if you like thicker keyboards, this is definitely great for you. Other things about it, it's got the second labeling for the FN row. So you push FN and then you get print, as opposed to just doing Control P for print screen. So you still get the same number of key presses. But I do like the fact that it is labeled for, or it's not FN, for the secondary row, for secondary functionalities, just because I don't always memorize all of them, like Control C, Control V, yeah. But print screen, I just generally use the button on my keyboard, so it's nice that it has it labeled for those of us who don't know every single secondary thing on the keyboard. And, well, I guess that's it. Let's go ahead and move on to the typing test. Or maybe even the next section. I changed my mind. Before I move on, let's pull off a keycap. So this has orange switches in it, and they should be hot swappable. There we go. That was nice and easy. So it's got 3 pins. 1, 2, 3. That's pretty cool. Nice. The LED in it is a north pole. I know some of you prefer north, some of you prefer south. I have no preference, but the switch itself is completely translucent, actually, in a very nice way to allow a lot of light through, so it should give good illumination. And it looks like in there is room if you do buy a 5 pole, so it should function properly with each type. So that's pretty nice. Alright, now let's move on. Alright, let's explore the software for the Razer. So I do have it plugged in, and you can see what kind of polling rate. So if we do increase the polling rate here, I wonder what that'll do for my CPU usage. Probably, I'm not actually typing anything, I'm just tapping on the keyboard. 20%, 18%, 32%. If I drop that down to 1,000, what does that do? Well, I'm not seeing much difference there, but I do have other stuff running on the computer. So, potentially, well, okay, first of all, having a higher polling rate does consume computer resources, but it does improve the responsiveness. So, if you're going to have a really high polling rate, I do recommend that you have a very powerful computer, i.e. like at least an 8-core. If you're on mobile, which actually this test is on, I probably would only do 2000 hertz. That should still net you a significant improvement, because the percentage improvement as you go up is greatly decreased, because like the time differential just becomes so much less. So if you're ultra pro, then sure, why not, but 1000, 2000 should be more than adequate for like 95% of everybody. And then there's gaming mode, always on, enable in game, so that's kind of cool. Hypershift, standard, don't know about that. So this is just the Synapses software, basic view of what we can see. And then we can come over here and adjust the lighting. We can go to advanced lighting effects. I haven't fully installed this yet. Let's get it. Alright, we got that all installed. So we just go over to Chroma Studio. So basically it'd be like click on the keyboard, lighting, advanced lighting effects. We could just go ahead and click on Chroma Studio, and then so if you just click on each one, it'll highlight each one. If you hit down Control, it allows you to select multiple individually. So I do prefer just having a single color. So let's continue with that and select even more colors. Select. This takes a hot minute to do, but it's well worth it if you spend the short amount of time that it takes to create this. And I like a purple color, as my channel describes. It's purple and orange. Just go ahead over there and click Save. And I'll be showing off what it looks like on the keyboard when it's all finished. And we'll leave this section and move on to the typing test, and you'll see the results, or you'll see the results and then you'll see the typing test. Well, this is what the end result should look like, and we'll see what it looks like in a second. Okay, I know I'm off to the side a little bit, but I did need to reinitiate the colors on the keyboard and when I plugged it into my primary gaming machine. So I just wanted to give that note that it didn't save the color profile. Now, if you have Chroma Studio or Razer software installed on your machine, and you have your profile saved, it should transport over and automatically load, but that is outside what I actually tested. I just know when I unplugged one computer that wasn't logged in, plugged it into another one that had the same software but logged in, it didn't transfer over the profiles as though it had a onboard memory chip. And it's something I really would expect in a more expensive keyboard, that it just has a memory chip installed into it, and no matter what software is loaded onto it, it just knows that this should be the automatic setup for the keyboard. Alright, for sake of comparison, I do have my ROG Azoth. This is my current gaming keyboard, and up top I have the Blackwidow 75%, just as a comparison's sake. So they are a bit color different, meaning that this is a little bit more gray, this is a little bit more black, but I have the colors set up as closely as I can. Let's not try not to put too much stress on things. There, can I fit them all in one camera shot? Well, that's pretty close. So how do they actually look? I'm going to say they look very close. Well, the letter sizing is a little bit different, which makes things difficult to directly compare. I just changed my lighting a little bit. So the letter size is a little bit smaller on the Azoth. So that means more light actually shines through on the Razer to make everything look a little bit brighter. Sorry, I'm waving my hands in front and it's causing it to get blurry. But I would say that the effects around the edges, meaning how much light is bleeding around each key, is overall similar. I would say this looks like more light is shining around the keys, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I guess I would like to see the light bleed at the top, just so you can see the secondary key buttons, but the rest, like the sides, I wouldn't really want to see any light bleed. So I don't know, I would say that they're relatively similar. So I'll let you be the judge for that. Here, I'm backing off a little bit again. Let's see my socks. And, you know, there they are. Overall, very similar. Alright, so now we're going to do the typing test. I have the keyboard situated in front of me. Looking at the keyboard, I am using OBS to screen record. Now, finally got it figured out. Microphone is going to be pointed at the keyboard so you get a good idea of what it sounds like while typing. And I'm not a particularly fast typer because I don't generally have to do a lot of typing on a daily basis, but we're going to do the best we can. You can see my past results, just get an idea of where my typing speed actually is. And we're getting ready to go. Well, this keyboard felt pretty interesting. Not like a normal tactile that I'm used to, but certainly not like a linear. Typing speed was a little bit faster than my overall average, but well within, so it felt pretty good. I'm gonna revisit this in a minute or so. So I wanted to do a little bit about the switches because I felt that they were so kind of unique. So I went to the product webpage. Razer Orange Tactile Mechanical Switches. So there's Gen 3 switches for Razer, and quieter actuation while developing a satisfying tactile bump with each keystroke. So I guess we could go to learn more about them. Well, I didn't know this much information about that. There we go, Tactile 3 Gen 3, and clicky, linear. Well, I'm actually glad that they put in these orange ones, and here's some information about. So the reset point, so they actually have a pretty deep actuation, so where it actually clicks. Maybe that's why I just didn't like it as much. The keyboards I've been using lately have had a much snappier actuation point than 2 millimeters. So I would have preferred to see something, yeah, the tactiles have like the deepest actuation out of all these. I would have preferred something in between 1.2 millimeters and 2 millimeters. So it's not necessarily a deal breaker, but could have been a little bit better with regard to that. And then they have sound tests on their website. So I guess that's just a little bit of overview about those switches. If you really want to see more about, read it yourself, just go to the webpage. Alright, we're going to be playing Black Mesa. It's my game of choice for testing out keyboards, just because I don't have that many first-person shooters anymore. I haven't played that much. Lately I've been back into RTSs, but anyways. Alright, we're back in game. Again, this keyboard is wired. I'm not the best FPS player, so... Hey, you got a machine gun. Ooh, reload. Well, it feels nice and responsive. The key presses feel very thocky. Like, they're pretty loud, actually. So there's that. Hang on, we're gonna bring up my other keyboard. So my other keyboard is very high-pitched. Hang on, let's bring it over. So. Just a very basic sound test there, just so you get an idea of what sound we're talking about. And now, here's the wrist rest. So without the wrist rest, very angled up. With the wrist rest is a bit flatter. I have not used a wrist rest in a long time, apparently. Feels weird. Sorry, I know I'm out of combat right now. I would do it with the wrist rest. It feels a lot more comfortable. Whoosh. Can I just run through? Whee! I'm gonna die. Well, I made it through. That was cool. Well, it feels nice and responsive. My gaming death will be because of myself and not because of the keyboard. Just trying to give a general, like, how good is this keyboard? I mean, Razer is known for making pretty good keyboards overall. Oops. Here we go. Alright, there we go. So that brings me to more or less the end of this video. There are no professional reviews in what I consider a professional review of this keyboard out right now. If one comes out, I may give a little update, probably just in the description. So what do I think about this keyboard? Well, the sound is very thocky, so if you like that thock as opposed to kind of more of a high-pitched, then this is pretty good. The typing on it was okay. They are listed by Razer as a tactile type switch, so it comes down to if you like the key press. I thought that it was just fine. The appearance of the keyboard is pretty good. I don't know if I'd really ever use these two buttons. That's just me. But it looks good. I like the form factor size. For whatever reason, I like 96% keyboards and I like 75% keyboards. The RGB lighting's on it pretty good. If you're already using Razer software, this is definitely a pretty good pick overall, because then you're just already using that piece of software. If you need to install a new piece of software for your new equipment, so you've got like a Logitech mouse with a Razer keyboard, I mean, it's perfectly fine to do that. There's nothing wrong with it. But then you need a piece of software to control the RGB for each and every one of those devices, which slows down your computer. So if you can consolidate and keep it all in an ecosystem, it makes your computer run a little bit more streamlined. It's just kind of unfortunate like that. So I think it's pretty good. For the price, this is $189. The Azoth, when I bought it, was $200. So this is a lot cheaper. I would say I like the key press a little bit better on the Azoth, but this certainly isn't bad. This would be a front runner for next keyboard. So you are stuck with a wire, so that's a little bit of downside. I am using my Azoth wirelessly, but otherwise they're right in line with each other for being a great keyboard. I just realized I didn't do one last test. So this is how tall each keyboard is. And they are right in line with each other. I don't know if you can really see that, but see, there's very little difference. So the fact that the Razer comes with a wrist rest is kind of a nice little bonus, even if it is kind of on the cheap side. No offense to Razer there. So it's there if you want it, and you can always use it without it. And nice magnetic. So it would be cool if Razer sold this separately, so as it wears out you can get a new one, I guess, because the keyboard is going to outlive everything else here. So yeah, if you're already using Razer products and have Razer Synapsys installed, this is definitely a great pick. If you're using other companies already, personally I would stay in ecosystem just for software's sake, unless you absolutely hate their products, which is why you go out and test stuff out, which is what I do and have done, and how I ended up with the Azoth here. So definitely seems like a pretty good pick, and I would wait for some pros like ratings to get their hands on this and check out like the response time and stuff like that. Media outlets I've looked at haven't really been able to check that. It feels nice and responsive, but I'm also not a pro. If you're not a pro, I mean, you could go ahead and take the risk. It's hot swappable, it's got good looking keycaps, good RGB. The price isn't bad, so overall it seems like a pretty good pick. And with that, I guess I'm going to end this review. Thank you very much for watching my video. If you got suggestions for more stuff for me to take a look at, please leave them in the comment sections down below. And thanks for watching Computer Tech and More. Have a great day.